Bum, bum, bum. Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? So good to see y'all. It's Tuesday. Feels like a Monday, but it'll be Wednesday before you know it, and we will have free drinks tomorrow. Just remind me that tomorrow, and I'll remind you where the free drinks are at. I guess that goes with that saying, unmet expectation. Yeah, how unfulfilling that is. But welcome, everybody. This is a second look. You know who I am, my lovely co-host, Miss Trina Phoenix. We just speak favor over us all because favor really works. So, Trina, I'll finish it out. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Because if you got favor in your life, that will lead
Nothing
you to
missing,
nothing
nothing,
missing, nothing broken,
nothing
which will
broken.
lead you to peace. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that's cool. So, speaking of favor, so yesterday we're coming back from the doctor visit, and as we're coming onto the interstate, uh, this just shows you how things work. As we were coming on, behind us, it happened 30 seconds or between a minute and 30 seconds. We didn't even see it, but we later saw and read about it. Um, So we were going westbound on Interstate 70. There's a lot of construction. They call it the death zone. It's about 21 miles of Interstate 70 that you basically are running a gauntlet. It's that, and it'll freak you out. And with my wonderful wife, she suffers from PSD from the accident. So she's got this phobia of driving, and of course with all this, but anyway, so right behind us, on the eastbound lanes, we saw the camper, the RV that went by, and a 19-year-old kid, 17, excuse me, in a 1999 Chrysler, uh, apparently panicked in the construction zone, clipped the RV on its bumper, which threw the kid's car off to the left, and they have the wire strung up there as the temporary barriers, right? Typically, they would
Mhm.
have the guardrail. Because of the low profile and the way there was no concrete blocks, when his car hit the wires, it went underneath the wires, which caused his car to go into the medium and propelled him out into the westbound oncoming traffic. And here's the tragedy. When he came through and you could see where the grass was, there was a semi speeding, hit him full on. He saw it. He was alive. He wasn't then after that. I mean, it hit bam like that and split the car in two. So that's where favor is. It's well, and it was a mess. So anyway, welcome everybody in the chat room. And finally, be kind to your mind. Trina and I were just talking about concussions. You know, if you ever hit your head, don't take that lightly. It's really more serious than what you can imagine. So be kind to your mind and to your brain and body. So Jenny is normally with us. Trina, you and I were talking, and I'll let Jenny tell her story on this, but she's healing. A lot of that going on. A lot of it, Trina.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Jenny, we love you. We're sending
Yeah.
you healing vibes. Ooh, you know, it's just like that gentle tide that comes in. You're sitting on the beach, the sun is starting to go down, and the water is warm, and it's just that gentle breeze and the that tide that rolls in. So, Jenny, that's what we're doing. We're just saturating you with lots of
Mhm.
love, lots of healing, and there you go. So, Miss Trina, how are you? I hear it's wet out in your area.
Yeah, it's been a rodeo out here. Yeah.
Yeah, send some of that
Yeah, we
rain our
had
way.
micro burst. We had a ton of damage in Tempe, Arizona. It slammed down on commercial buildings and homes. It's like a tornado, but it's
It's
called a
weird to see.
microburst. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're not playing. So yeah, we've had a lot of very crazy weather. A poor city of Globe went underwater. They're going to be recovering for a very long time. So yeah, we've had some extreme weather. Colorado got blasted yesterday too with flooding.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Seen it. They can send that to us. I mean, we are in a severe drought. It's just
like I said, we were for a long time, and now they've switched the directions, and now they're coming this way. So you know, it's
that's how
so
it is.
it is. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. It seems like they're completely steering the weather, and bad things are happening that really never happened before in certain places. And then, they want to.
I countered that thought with this thought, sweetie.
Mm.
I countered that I don't think we have that technology. I mean, maybe we do,
Oh, we
but
do. It's the white papers are all there. It's been around since 1950.
well, my
Yeah.
point is, I don't think we need that. I mean, maybe, but you know, it's coming out now. I think Time Magazine, Ben Davidson, I was listening to him this morning. It's now official that they're announcing it to the world that our magnetosphere, the magnetic poles, are down 30%. And it's just my hypothesis. I don't think we're that powerful. But I do believe weather is not impacted by man. I do not believe that. There's no evidence that shows that. And I believe YouTube, don't put that stupid blue box on my thing here, that you're going to find science is finally going to catch up and say, well, we were wrong on this climate change. Actually, we're in deeper shit than that. It's the magnetic poles. Not only are they moving, but they're extremely weak. And I believe that this, through the effects of the sun, the cosmic rays coming in, I think weather is electromagnetic in nature. So my whole thing is, I think we're going to get our butts kicked as these magnetic poles begin to move to the equator. I think we're going to see wild changes in weather. But that's just me.
I think you were
If you
onto
got
it
the
years
joint, pass
ago.
it, please. The bus has already left, and it is a free zone. So,
You know where you started all those years ago looking at the potential of the planet X and the solar system
yeah.
incoming our Earth solar system. It looks like this is not the first time this has happened, and it looks like that might be actually what we're looking at, and that's going to affect the magnetic poles, and it's going to do a lot of stuff.
It
So
brought the
with
flood,
that,
you know,
yeah,
but
yeah, and we might
that's
we
how it
might
is.
end up going right back where you started, Wade, because the evidence might be completely like we'll be able to see it if this is actually going to happen. We should be able to see it, and I wonder if these comets and stuff coming in are the precursor for the system that's behind
Well,
it.
how about if this is the case, and I think you're going to hear this, speaking of Nibiru, but I think what we're moving into is a debris field. An
I do
ancient debris
too.
field that,
Yeah.
listen, our science is not that freaking good. We can't put like a pair of headlights and radar out in front of the Earth and the sun and go, well, what part of the galaxy are we moving in? Oh, shit, Trina, they had a rock slide in space, and look at all this shit coming at us, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, and then you're looking at behind the seat and you're telling the people behind there go, you guys need to strap in. It's going to get a little bumpy. And oh, by the way, the sky is really going to, I think that that is completely plausible.
I do too. Well, they said that, that when they were talking about the whole Nibiru stuff back in the day, it was very interesting because they would talk about the million-mile debris field
Hmm. Yeah.
that travels with it. I was like, well, boy, that's going to be a good day.
And it's just like, with previous administration trying to take credit for something that's taken. My point is, the flood was a natural event. It's just that we made up a God who claimed credit for it as punishment. I don't think so. I think that there could be an intelligence that could look and understand with their science the sun, its magnetic pull on the planets, and they could look at the planet and determine where the planet is magnetically. And if you had the right instrumentation, you could then make predictive models. And then
Yeah.
you could say, well, hey, look at this, Trina. this is a 12,000 event this world goes through, but hey, every 6,000 years, they seem to have these cataclysmic events. Well, if
It's
you
what I
and I
mean.
were
Like,
alien, we could say,
yeah.
we can implement a plan here. What do we need to do to tweak this?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think the modifications might be a real thing because they know we're going to be in for some major stuff.
Well, I think we
So,
are.
why not control the narrative a little bit before you know what's coming is coming? So I don't know. I see so many potentials with this, and they're all theory. None of it's
Well,
fact.
we do know that with the weakening of the magnetopause, that
Yeah.
it's allowing in, oh, folks, I mean, these cosmic rays, they don't do our species good. I mean, living things.
Or is this the thing? It actually does do our species good. What if this is how we shift our consciousness through the new light, the new energies that come through that we're not being shielded from? I could see it, it could go both ways.
Well, evidence shows that the cosmic rays make our brains go crazy.
I've
Insanity
heard that.
is the net result. That's
Mhm.
why we'll never be in space.
I have heard
We
that.
don't have the technology or the materials that can shield us from these cosmic rays, and that's the big problem. That's what Musk is finding out with Mars. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought, all right, yeah, we can send a human out there, but they're going to be back crap crazy by the time they get there.
Or our biology and our magnetic existence of our brain's health is based on our planetary connection.
I think it, yeah,
So,
I think there's real
yeah, I
science to
don't.
that.
That's why I think that there's potentially through the universe many different kinds of humans,
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
they all
I think
have
there's
to
many
be.
kinds here.
Me too, but I think they do have to have a specific link to the planet that they're existing on, or their body won't work right. I think there's something very important to the connection of the dark sun with the light sun, and without that subconscious programming that is in alignment with that planetary body, I wonder if the body could even function. I think it won't. And I think that could be a lot of what they're looking at.
When Patrick and I were doing Talking with the Planets, remember Earth said that, by the way, folks, go back and listen to those. It went too fast, too soon and would have loved to have seen it gone from because we were learning things. But here's my point. See, this is the problem I have with aliens. See, I believe each planet has, and if you're born on a planet, then you're aligned to that planet.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you would have the correct energy, the correct chi on another planet because it's unique to that planet.
Yeah.
And so that's my problem, and if aliens do come from other planets, physical planets, then and I don't know anything. I'm just a common man. That's all I am. But I
Mhm.
ask, common questions. It's like, well, spiritually, we know that we're all aligned to an energy. I mean, the fact that you have these physical bodies means that you and I, Trina, and everyone watching us, hello, everybody in the chat room, good to see you, that we have a timing. It's an internal timing. Now, if you move that timing even a millisecond, you're out of phase.
Yep.
And so you're going to take a human being, take them out of this energy field that I don't think a human being can exist being away from this energy field. I could be wrong. Um, I
Unless they
knew
could
Gene
find a way
Cernan.
to simulate the electromagnetic field around your body with some type of technology like
It would
bracelet,
have to be at the same
waist.
timing and the same frequency, I would
Yeah,
think.
and that's why I wonder if those Anunnakis always wore the bracelets and the stuff. It was because,
Exactly.
yeah, I was like, I wonder if
Uh-huh.
that magic purse really was. It was keeping an electromagnetic field around them so they would be fine. I wonder these things all the time. I'm like,
You think about it, we have the technology now where to get your blood pressure, all you have to do is put on, literally, it's a
uh,
cuff.
yeah,
And imagine this, if you were from another planet, that device could probably keep your cardiac system. because that's the interesting thing. All of us have the same heartbeat. It's on that same frequency. But if you're from another planet, it's probably going to be at a different frequency and rate, right?
That's the whole thing I was thinking
Yeah.
about. I was like, how could this work? Because what I've always seen is that the internal sun is basically the part of us that's the subconscious construct. And then the visible sun we see in the sky is a representation of the other part of the brain, which is the more conscious, awake part of reality. So if you take a body up to another planet and the subconscious mind can't connect to the body because it's running in a different frequency, I don't know how that would work out. I mean, I
I
don't
don't
think it
know.
I don't think
It's,
it could work.
it gets, and that ties into the whole thing. Can a human being be possessed by another spirit? Whether it's demonic, whether it's a Holy Spirit, whatever. And if more than one consciousness can occupy the physical body and integrate to the brain, it tells me that we're missing a step in this that we don't quite understand. But, I was trained as a deliverance ministry. And I mean, we believed on the laying hands on people and rebuking and casting demons out of people. And, whether that was true or not, I don't know. I mean, I saw some pretty weird shit. There ain't no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
But
You
I
know,
also,
Wayne, it
what's that,
makes a
hon?
lot of I've been looking at the quantum fractal properties of our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at that antenna, you know, it makes sense how we could capture signals and take on different streams of energy because we are literally antenna. So if you tap into the wrong frequencies and resonate with that, that's what they need to get into the system. And I really do think it could be that simple. And that's why they say control your frequency, control your energy. Because if you're operating in a lower vibration, your signal stream is open to all those vibrational matches.
It's
So,
interesting that you bring that up because, I come from the Pentecostal side of Christianity, which is really the mysticism side of Christianity.
mhm.
And our proclamation to the other denominations was is that they were worshiping a dead God, that we were plugged into the Holy Spirit by the gifts and manifestations according to Paul's writing in 1 Corinthians 12, that, we had this supernatural endowment put upon us by this thing called the Holy Spirit. Well, in a sense, I mean, we were opening ourselves up to a consciousness. You hear about the Christ consciousness all the time, that's the thing that moves in. So by that proclamation or example, then it would say, yes, the human body can hold more than one personality.
I've seen people with a whole truckload of them, plus a few extras.
I mean, I still speak in tongues. I can still lay hands on the sick. I can see them recover.
I
I'm
wonder
using the
though
gift of
if
prophecy.
speaking I wonder if speaking tongues is an ancient language that's already yours. You know, I wonder if that's something you're activating or if it's something you're receiving because it feels more like to me it's coming from the inside of you. It's not coming from the outside
No,
of you.
it
It's
is
some
coming.
yeah, it
I
feels like
came when I was baptized by
uh-huh.
Ron Tucker, and as I was coming up out of the water, I started speaking in tongues.
It
It just
awakened. Yeah.
it came forth. And
I think it's
baptism
a
could
remembering, Wayne. I don't think that's I think that's a remembering. And
could
that's,
be.
yeah, I think this
Yeah.
is the whole thing we're trying to look at right now is how can we awaken? This is what we're trying to do. And it's through those things. You literally kind came out of the water speaking a new language.
And the theology behind that is that you're risen to new life. That
Yes.
you're literally simulating death and the resurrection.
Yes. Hmm.
That's powerful stuff. No matter, folks, and that's why I love this channel, is that, we can speak openly on these so-called taboo topics because the vast majority of people do not speak in tongues. They don't believe it is. Many modern theologians will tell you it's simply gibberish because they don't believe in a God that's active and has a supernatural presence. Now, I carry that over into my ghost hunting hobby that I do. And so, it's really weird because you're carrying this, and there have been times where I'll just start speaking in tongues when I can feel the energy, and it's like it's a plow. It clears the path out in front of for me, you
Yeah.
know? But it is interesting because, I think that's one of the parts that humanity is like. That's why I love the occult. Because the occult, although it's a mixture of all of this different ideology and theology and philosophy, in the center of it, it means that we have the ability to do things that defy rational thought.
Yeah.
That you, Trina, you have the gift of inner sight, and that's how I would interpret this if I was
Mhm.
writing this. If someone said, "Well, describe Trina," and I would say, um, Trina is a spirit that is connected to because it's like a bandwidth, and you're
Yeah,
tuned in.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you can
it's a
bring insights.
specific vibration, and
Yeah.
it literally you physically you feel it when you're connected to it. And like I said, a lot of times when you get to the higher vibrations, you can't hold them too long because your whole body's like vibrating and shaking. It's kind of hard. But you're absolutely right, Wayne. And since I was a kid, I always had inner sight. But when I was a little kid, we just called that imagination.
It's interesting because I was reading some of the comments. I think it was, who was it? Paul Joe was talking that, well, most people think it's gibberish. But Paul Joe, you're talking to a Bible minister here. I can tell you at one time, I'm not in there, but you still retain the knowledge. Paul said that if you're not anointed, if you're not chosen, if you don't have the mark of the Holy Spirit, it's going to be gibberish to you. Exactly what he said. Not my words, his. I
You
mean,
know what? It blew my mind because that one day you were talking in tongue and I literally could hear it in English.
see,
And
that's
that
a
does
gifting.
not happen very often to me, but there's only been like two or three people my whole life that I've heard people speaking light language that I literally was understanding exactly what they meant. And the words weren't exactly perfect, but the essence and the principle was
Mm,
spot on. Spot on.
yes,
I
yes.
felt I felt what they were saying. And I could hear it in my language. I was like, I hear you. So some of us can hear that and it's not gibberish, but
Yeah, and it's not gibberish, but the point is, Paul was saying that if you don't have the anointing, then your mind isn't going to be able to comprehend it. And it's interesting. I don't know. The thing about the church in Corinth, obviously they didn't have the right answer because they died out. But during their time, it was a wild bunch. I mean, these people were tongue talking, and I mean, Paul had to basically reprimand them and said, "Cool it, man. People outside are listening and they think you're freaking nuts."
Yep, yep,
And that's what he
yep.
said. He says, "Don't speak in tongues in a congregation unless you have the gift of interpretation."
That makes sense.
Yeah. And
That makes
tongues
absolute
are
sense.
primarily used for edification.
Hmm.
It's designed, the language, the frequency. If you hear the concordance to the language itself, it's designed to actually uplift your spirit, to edify, to lift you up. So anyway,
I literally, I
there you
see it
go.
when you guys do that. You know what I see? You know when they talk in the Bible about the fires of the tongues of fire.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
That's
In the
literally
upper
what I
room.
see. It's like a command with a frequency that purifies and cleans and heals, and it's a commanding force to bring in higher frequency. It's really I've seen some of those times I was moved. I mean physically by the power of the vibration of the words being spoken over people. It's like wow, it's powerful.
I'll tell you, and it has gotten me out of, used to do a lot of traveling. I was in Atlanta, staying at the Georgian Hotel. Beautiful, beautiful antebellum hotel. But anyway,
Mhm.
We went out for dinner, and I've told this story before, but dude walked up to us. He was black. I don't care matter. He was came up and was going to rob us
Mhm.
until I started speaking in tongues. And uh, a person with me said, your face began to
Changed.
contort.
That's
It
right.
changed. Yeah, yeah. And seriously, that dude, all you could see the white of his eyes. He was in he
Shock.
literally was in fear and shock. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he
yeah,
couldn't believe what he was seeing
yeah,
because he
yeah,
never saw nothing like
yeah,
that before. Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah. Just recently did it again, and the person just freaked out again. So
Yeah.
that's my point. I mean, the average person on the street, you start speaking in tongues to them, and they're going to think you're freaking nuts.
And you know what's the
They're gonna-
funniest part is like deep inside each and every single one of us are these ancient languages that we used to pray with and we used to do all these beautiful things with, and we just have no remembrance of it.
If the
And we
gods walked
remember,
with us at one time, I'm sure
uh-huh.
that we spoke their language.
Oh yeah,
That's what it's
God,
called. It's called
and
the
the
light
gods that
language.
that walked with us, gave birth and created their children.
They
So
did.
we're extremely connected.
Paul Joe says there was a group speaking in tongues, and a lady said we were full of devils. Well, the devil, we're all the devil.
Yeah.
In
Well, and
Excess has a great song. Boom,
a lot of
boom, boom.
people remember back in the day, if you got a cold, they said you were filled with the devil. So it depends on what is your meaning of devil. And a lot of people too, when they see things that they don't understand, they immediately associate it with evil. So,
Yeah, and evil, here's the thing that I learned primarily in the Golden Dawn, if you get deep into that, into the Solomon's teachings. Solomon said about wisdom is that wisdom is neither good nor evil.
yes,
Just something
yes,
to think about them devils. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's what you do with it is
That's what you
what
do with it.
matters. It's like, what are the actions from that
Yeah.
information? What do you do with it? Yeah.
Yeah, and this weekend, we lost some, Diane Keaton. I've always liked her, you know,
Mhm.
thought she
Yeah.
was, the role that she played with Al Pacino in The Godfather. And I was a big fan, I think, of the Father of the Bride. They did the remake of that.
That
And
was funny.
yeah, yeah. And John, and his name escapes me right now, and I don't know why that is, from the Moody Blues.
I don't
Come on,
know.
help me out on you guys.
I can't. I don't watch
Yeah.
TV and movies. I'm terrible at that game.
Anyway, he's with the Moody Blues, and so he's gone, and they're going over. Yeah, boy, they
Yep.
do. The Moody Blues was one of those groups that, wow, I
Hmm.
true story, Trina. And I know that this the title of our show is Keeping Agile During the Change, and it's I look back and all of us have been through multiple changes. And the reason why we're here is that the vast majority of us are agile enough of mind and spirit. We've adapted, we've overcome, we've adjusted, we've acclimated, and here we are. I think
Hmm.
that's just it's the most far out thing that you could think about. And we're seeing history made. I mean, people like the Moody Blues. And for myself, Trina, when I was 16. I was living in Bel Air, Texas. It was in Houston. And when I would be coming down off of my psychedelic trips, it was always the Moody Blues, you Um, you know, number of their albums, On the Threshold of a Dream, particularly, I like that one. And To Our Children's Children, Children, great album. Anyway. All of you who know about the Moody Blues, tell me about it. I know I saw some people earlier commenting on that.
You
But
know
anyway,
what I've been thinking a lot about is how part of the program here is not remembering. And
yeah, it's that question, do the memories carry over? Apparently, I believe they do.
I
I do
think that
believe
they
they, yes.
do. But they go into your collective soul. You know what I mean? But when you come into a new body, all of it's taken, it's wiped from you. So it's I think it's being stored. That's why I talk about the clouds. Now we have the technology that stores our information in the cloud. It's kind of that. But if we could start to remember more of what we were and more of our abilities and more of the things that we've already gone through, I don't think any of this would be so mysterious. I think it would make a lot more sense.
The more I study palmistry, and I'm loving it, it's
I
just,
bet.
it is. Trina, I am convinced I'm becoming more convinced that those memories are right here.
That's what
We
I'm
don't
telling
know
you.
how
They
to
come
read this
from the
contract.
biofield.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
coming from your
yeah,
soul aura. Your
yeah.
biofield programs the flesh because the spirit creates the flesh. So that is the part that still remembers and it's in you. But how do you get there? By looking at your hands,
Yeah,
going
yeah.
into your subconscious mind. Those are the ways you remember more of who you are. Meditation, all prayer, all these beautiful things that bring you into a different level of consciousness. You get these little pieces of remembrance. And I think all of us have done such uniquely different things and
We
learned
have.
amazing skills. And wow, if we could find a way to really start unlocking that, that would be
So
amazing.
you just brought up a very interesting thought because if reincarnation is true, I don't know if it is or isn't. I have mixed emotions on that.
I do
But
too.
if it is, it seems to me that when we spoke of earlier, that if you're born on Earth, you carry Earth with you. I mean, it's in your soul, it's in your
You know,
spirit.
they showed me that. They showed me, they took me into the higher realms and they were showing me different aura fields. They go, you can see all the ones that have been to Earth. They have a specific like color
I can see
badge.
that.
And they were saying they were they knew if you'd been to Earth. It was very interesting. I was shown that years ago and I thought, well, that's kind of weird. Like, does it show if we've been to Venus and show if we've been here and if we've been to this system and that system? And they were like, yeah, you just can't read it. I was like,
There
oh,
has to be, and I have seen it in my visions that I've taken it in this realm, and it's complex. Um, but there has to be an an order to it. I just can't imagine that it's as chaotic as this place is. But then
no,
again,
I don't think.
I don't know. I mean, but what would be the purpose for reincarnation? I mean, is it the fact that don't all of us experience virtually all the range of emotions within a lifetime?
Yeah, and we've been told that we came here to get better and
But get better for
to
what?
that's what I'm talking about because when you understand the soul of what you are, um, it is already perfect. There's it doesn't need to learn anything. It doesn't need to do any of that. So what's the point? And they tell us, oh, it's to
Thank you for
evolve
bringing
your
that up,
soul.
sweetie.
I'm like, my soul is so smart right now. I can't even keep up. How could I be even contributing? It's kind of that way. I'm like, huh?
Well, but religion teaches you to basically hate yourself because if you
Correct.
it and it's true every religion and
Yeah.
I
And
used to
that
loathe myself.
you need an authority human being to help you connect with God. And they want you to, go through outside sources to connect. And it's like, no, you need to learn how to connect to your energy field. You need to learn how to connect to what's
Yeah.
inside of you. And if you were to truly
Go
understand
inside for truth.
yeah, and the brain is a map of the cosmos. You have the whole thing in your head.
Well,
Every part of it is a different location in the
when
system.
when I learned again, I and a lot of it has to do from the childhood trauma and what have you, but I loathed myself. It was like I was
Mhm.
constantly criticizing, I was constantly condemning myself. And when you get into that cycle, no matter where you are in life, no matter what's happening in life, you got this internal battle. When I left Christianity, when I left religion, when I left that God, I was in I'll just be candid with you. It was a very dark place, but I was never afraid of it. And that
Hmm.
was the problem. When I was in Christianity, I feared the dark.
Hmm.
I don't fear the dark now. I realize that light is not what we've been taught, that there is a different light, and I've seen that light.
Yep.
And I'm not afraid of that light anymore. And you know, the other thing is, I'm as perfect as I'm going to be.
Yeah. And you know, too, Wayne, when we talk about the differences between light, a lot of people call the darkness the void. And it's like there is a void. But most people, when they enter into that darkness, it's the barrier between dimensions. That's all
Yeah,
it
and
is.
each void is within you.
Yeah, and it's the separation between the next dimension. So
Mhm.
most people get stuck in
Well, if
that.
you hate yourself and you die, I can guarantee you this, brother and sister, your ass
Mm,
ain't moving on up. You got some
no,
work to be doing. And the
yeah,
thing about it is, I was counseling them, and I said, listen, if the God that you have worshiped is demanding that you become like it, then I said, that's not a God. The God
no,
that created you wanted you to grow, wanted you to experience, and more than anything else, unconditionally love yourself. Because if you can unconditionally love yourself, you can then express that to others unconditionally. And
yeah,
don't mean to be so blunt about it, but you don't want to leave this realm hating yourself. Quit
no,
that. That's
yeah,
not good.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
unhealthy.
it's not what you came to do.
Yeah, and it will literally hold you down as it's those tendrils. Your spirit is lifting up, your soul is rejoicing, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, we got some issues to talk about here now. It's like, hmm, what about those times you cursed yourself, Why is it that
Mhm.
every time you made a mistake, you say, God damn it, and you put your name behind that?
It's
Uh,
so funny though. I changed that because I kind of got stuck with that one because I used to use that word a lot. It's kind of automatic and it's from my lineage. It was kind of their word, Oh, they'd say
true.
that. And so what I did, I was like, oh God, when I say that, well, how can I fix that with my own consciousness? So when now if it slips out and because shit comes out a lot too, it's automatic.
That's what Lynn said when she was hit.
It just happens. So,
Like,
I was like, okay, now when I hit the God damn it, that means God's damming it. God's stopping it like a dam. Like, God damn it. Like stop this now. So I kind of switched that in my consciousness to make it work better for me because it's a really deep program in my lineage,
well, you
apparently.
think about it because you are your God. So what you're saying is that you're damning it. It's not
Damn it. Yes,
God up
stop
there or
it.
down there. It's you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and listen, we all sit here and we say, because I've learned this stuff. I've matured. Your ass, there's times when pain comes in, like when you hit your finger with a hammer. What are you going to be saying? Oh, bless me, Lord.
Right. Right.
I don't
Right.
see people doing that. No, what
I
happens?
feel happiness and joy. Nope.
It's going to be, God damn it, son of a bitch, and it's just, and it
Ouch.
just comes. And in fact,
Yeah.
Mythbusters did a show where Adam was having his hand in ice. And if you ever had your hand in ice water, it gets painful after a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they had Carrie. And the thing about it is, they did a clock. And so, two experiments. One where the person who had their hand in the ice water and it was getting colder couldn't say anything, right? And the pain was intense. You could see it on this meter. The second part of that experiment is that when the pain started hitting, you could cuss. You could just do whatever. Those who cussed, get this, was more of an emotional and healing release than the
Yeah.
ones who kept their mouth shut, and that were not
Yeah.
expressing that. Yeah.
Yeah. They're moving the
What does
energy.
that say?
It means it's again, it's confirmation of the energy. And
Yeah.
it's like if we can't move energy, especially when you're getting a pain signal, it's like your reaction would be to pull it away. So,
Bingo.
see, they're
Yes.
consciously fighting with their own intuition of protection and safety. So, that's going to create more conflict, more chaos in the body and the being and the mentality because they're like, why are you keeping your hand in there when you know it's causing us pain? So when I look at it from an energy place, I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
And I catch myself at, the goddamn thing. It's
Yeah.
so guttural,
It
but
just,
yeah, but I find that sometimes saying son of a bitch, that that does a different thing because son of a bitch, but anyway,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
SOB.
Oh my God, my ex-husband used to use the asshole word a lot, and this is so funny because my daughter was like 16 months old, and she's at a fish trout farm, and it's all quiet, and everybody's standing around, and they're fishing, and he catches a fish, and he puts it in the bucket, and she's looking at that fish, and it's flipping around in the bucket, and she takes her bottle out of her mouth, and she's holding her blanket, she throws it on her shoulder, and she points at that bucket, she goes, "Settle down, asshole." The whole lake lost their mind. They were laughing so hard. I was like, that was you, not me. That's not my word. That's yours. They're
Kids will do that. They'll, it's
perfect parrots. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
yeah,
settle down. I was like, oh my God.
and
Oh,
and oh, that is so funny. And but it
oh,
teaches us all this lesson that you sometimes you just have to give yourself a break. Let up. There's so much tensity in this energy field outside, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. It was so funny, Wade, because you're saying that, and the fishing pond was so tense. Everybody was so quiet, and everybody was trying not to make any noise. And then here comes my little, not even 2 year old. Oh, you just settle down, at the top of her lungs. The laughter, it shifted the whole
the
rest of
whole
the
energy. Yeah.
everybody started talking quietly and laughing and giggling. And, it shifted the immediate frequency. It's like, children know when to do things like that, I think, because it
Out of the
fixes,
mouths of babes.
yeah, it
Yeah.
fixes the
Yeah.
energy. And she just
Yeah.
showed me such a great lesson. I was like, yeah, it was a little tense around here, Brittany, until you dropped the whole asshole bomb. That was great.
There's a lesson there, Trina. And it's we forget these things. We get so far into this life and we forget what life is really about. It's about having fun. I think if
Yeah,
I think if the world would change its perspective to where each country ensured that all of its citizens were having fun,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I
I
think
think
that's
just to the first blanket of all things is just safe, to be safe for them, to have home and food and water and shelter. Then if all those things are provided for people, if that was to be present on this planet for all people in all nations, the frequency would be so high they wouldn't be able to do 90% of what they've tried because it wouldn't even be able to exist in our reality. It would
I
be
wish
literally
the world would
naturally
sing a
remedied.
song of
Yeah.
peace and harmony. Bum, ba,
Yeah.
do, do, do,
Yeah, because
do.
if we all have like the basic needs met, then the fun comes out of people because they're not in fight or flight. They're not in survival mode. You'll start to see who they really are.
We'd have to
Yeah.
get rid of AI. We'd have to get rid of a lot of other things, but
Wayne, I really do. I wonder, honey, we might be the original AI. I
technically, I
mean,
did a show on that. I said, if you
yeah,
look at
I look at that a lot. I'm
Adam
like,
was not the original intelligence.
and Eve appears to be the first clone. So, I mean, we don't know. We really don't. We have no idea what we're looking at.
If there
And I
ever
really,
was an Adam and Eve. I mean, that's the
and
other
it
whole
says,
thing.
and the whole thing, Wayne, you born in sin. I've always wanted
Yeah.
to know about that. And you know what they keep telling me? They're like, you understood it was about your DNA because they told me it was the DNA. And then now they're showing me it's because it's synthetic.
I'll just take Billy Joel's. I'd rather laugh with the sinners than cry with the saints.
Oh, I'd rather, yeah,
That's
yeah.
a great album,
Yeah,
by the
being
way.
in the sad poor me boat, I don't want to go there.
It's like, yeah, it says you Catholic girls, you always wait too late, Yeah, Oh,
I
I got to
wasn't one
tell
of
you, when
those.
my time comes, Trina, I am leaving with that just with a big sign that says thank you. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to come back because maybe that's what we say in our cycles. I don't know, but I just know from my perspective now, it was not the smoothest of trips, but it was the best of trips.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got some more trips to make, but yeah. So, Trina, want to get your perspective on what we saw yesterday, that the world is now proclaiming peace. I think it's 2 Thessalonians 9:6 that Paul wrote to Timothy, and when they proclaim peace, sudden destruction shall come upon them.
Yeah.
So are we at that? And then that becomes, this whole thing. Then how did Paul know this? Who was Paul? But anyway, so Trump did the impossible yesterday. I mean, I watched it on the news because it was historic. I mean, it really was. 29 different countries signing a peace accord that has caused mankind, it's been a pain in our ass for thousands of years. And now we get this guy. And by the way, my wife and I were talking. The interesting thing about Trump is that, do you know what he surrounds himself with? Gold.
Top technology people in the
No,
world. Yeah,
gold.
and lots of gold.
No,
Yep.
the technology, all no, it's gold.
Yeah.
And if you do an esoteric study on gold, this is a demigod, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a
And why?
slight,
Why is it a demigod?
because the demigod will surround himself with that which he has always surrounded himself with.
And what is gold? It's a superconductor.
Yeah.
So you can get signals into that because it's a superconductor for energy. So literally, that makes perfect sense to me. Their consciousness is going to be in a higher vibrational rate because of the surroundings of the gold in around them. Literally, this makes sense. And what are the like, people say, oh, they want gold. It's like, yeah, they don't want the kind of gold we're looking at, though. They're looking at monatomic gold.
Yeah, they're looking at different properties. I mean, it's
But it comes from the real gold. They just make it through a fire. They purify it. They break it down into its core elemental
so
structures, which makes monatomic.
my guide in my dreams was teaching me on reading because I get these classes at times, so what it feels like. And so the reason why I make a correlation to Trump as a demigod, because I can go directly back to uh, the Book of Chronicles, and I can read about another person that did that. Who was the other person that made the gold room?
Wasn't it Solomon?
Solomon. And who did he
That's
make
what I
it
thought.
for?
The
Yahweh,
the I was gonna say the that
the
box. Yeah,
Elohim.
that one. Yep.
And and if you've ever studied, in fact, when I was in a Bible class on this one, there was a study done by the amount of gold that Solomon had surrounded himself. It would be the equivalency of 1/5 of all the known gold of the world was in Solomon's temple at one time.
And look at what he was doing. Look at what
Exactly.
he
Look
was
what
doing.
happened while that energy was there.
Right.
Now, that energy left, and it was real interesting because, eventually that gold was, taken in to Babylon is where it ended up. But yeah, so I look at Trump and I'm going, what's going on? Lynn and I had gotten this really great discussion. It's like, all right, so what are we seeing here? And I told her, I said, sweetheart, what I am seeing, not others in the world are seeing, but I said, I see him as a demigod. He has all the characteristics, and I'm asking myself, and I'll tell you what I did, Trina. I went back and watched The Omen because I
Oh,
wanted to get
yeah.
the correlation about what was going on here. And I said, so this man is bringing a wisdom that the world has not seen before. You're seeing other leaders now. Did you see yesterday what was happening?
A little
Trina,
bit, but not a lot.
it was blowing my freaking mind because I told my sweetheart, I said, Lynn, look at this. These people are almost bowing down to this guy. World
It's so
leaders of
yeah.
countries that, yeah. So I don't
And it
know.
sounds
Are we going to
tricky.
see a last? Is this a shift in the probability of fate or destiny? Does Trump change the world from a world of war to a world of peace, building prosperity? Are we looking at the birth of
What
the
they're
Federation?
what they're focusing on building, I'm this is a genuine question. I keep asking. They keep wanting to do all the data stuff, and I'm like, how does that at all help humanity? I I,
So good that you brought that up because
I don't
in my
understand.
area, there are a dozen proposed data centers going in, and I
No,
looked
they
at
want 3,200 in Arizona where we have no water.
why? What
What the
is
heck?
going on
That's what
here?
I
I
mean.
mean,
I
what
don't
are these data
understand.
centers?
Right. Well, how is this going to help
Like
us?
something ain't
How?
right here, folks. Something is
That's what I mean.
really, really
I'm
wrong.
I'm wrapping my brain. I'm like, please, somebody
And is
tell
this
me
part of
how
the
this
Trump
helps
effect?
me.
Because he
How
has
does
brought in AI into a level that where he's brought the other demigod, which the only one I could say for sure would be Musk. Now there may be others, but so what's going on here? And this is overnight.
That's what I mean. I'm so like, please, somebody tell me how this is going to help us and why we are needing to spend so much money on these things that do not seem like they're going to help us. All this promise with medicine and stuff, boy, they've really made some big mistakes in the very recent future past. And a lot of people now we're like, you got to figure it out before you can do anything more because you've disappointed the world, the entire world.
So the conspiracist of me is whispering this voice, be careful what you wish for, because I don't know, and I don't have it on anyone's authority, but something doesn't feel quite right. I'm just maybe it's just my questioning nature, Trina, but something, or maybe we're so
That's
conditioned to war and hate that we don't know that if we saw an alternative, that it would it feel foreign to us? Would we be suspicious?
I think there's an inner familiarity because I think we've been through these things before. And there's a knowing that's deep inside of me. And that's why I think that question has been coming up in my consciousness. I'm like, there's this big push for all this stuff, and it's gonna create all these job losses and all this different stuff. I'm like, what part of that is good for our planet? What part of that is good for humanity? I've been trying to make sense out of it, and I can't find it. And I'm like, please, maybe y'all can help and show me something I'm not seeing. But this is a problem. I mean, we are going in a really bad direction globally. So
I agree.
what I mean, they still never fixed Fukushima.
Yeah. By the
But
way,
they want to spend all these trillions of dollars in this stuff when they haven't even fixed a mess that they made, and they literally have just let it go for what, we
yeah, and these are
15,
the same
18
people
years
that
now?
want you to reelect them so they can fix the
Right. I'm
problem
like,
that they
this is
made that they didn't
crazy.
have. Yeah, it's like, by the way, thank you, Deborah and Jargo. I've been wondering where Scotty Boy has been. And I just saw in the chat room that he's down in Texas. Scotty, we missed you, brother. Missed you
Yeah.
as well. Let's see some questions I'm
Yeah.
seeing in here. Sally
Where is
Wayne says,
Scotty boy?
I
Hmm.
haven't seen it. I've missed him. I know
Me too.
Gilbert, with his mom now crossing, made the transition. So,
Scotty is working, Nina says. Yeah.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Right on,
cool.
Scotty. Right on.
Sally says since September 23rd, 24, I believe those ascending just went through resurrection, count 40 days, and when we shift or translate. Yeah, I think there is a shift. I don't think that that's just woo-woo stuff. I think
Well,
that
we
there
got
is,
three interstellar objects that have come in the last couple years, and that's never been ever reported on the news before, but it is now. We've got Atlas and we've got Swan coming, and we had the other one, Oumuamua, and what we've had interstellar objects coming in the first time in our lifetime that we're aware of. So there is definitely something happening. I mean, there definitely is, when I tuned into the three eye. It happened that day when I was on the show with you and you were talking about it, and I saw it was like, whoa. And I saw it was a measuring device. They were really measuring everything and looking at multiple timelines. And I saw three eyes, and then it was like past, present, future. They're looking at everything right now and recording and gathering a lot of data. So that's what it seemed like to me was it was a monitoring system, and I didn't feel it was going to do any harm to us. It's just doing what it does. But this is very interesting, and if that is a data collection entity and it's measuring the collective growth and what we've done to the planet and all this stuff, it does seem like that would be like when they gather the books for, all the things you did in your lifetime. They just got it all. They just got all the data. Boom, they got it. It's now theirs.
I'll tell you what it looks like to me. It looks to me to be like a mechanical life form, an organism, because it
Mhm.
doesn't make sense. If these data centers are needed, then what they've lied to us, they said that the cloud was infinite. No, if the cloud is now limited, and the thing about these data centers, what do they go on? They go on natural resources, water, electricity. They require, and I'll just lay it out there. You want to know why silver is where it's at? Silver is going to go higher. Why? Because silver
Good
is the
man.
primary thing in these data centers.
Yeah.
And that to me sounds like an alien organism, that it has to set up data in every city. Where I live, a
And Wayne,
data center,
why would it need a data center? Because it can't connect to what we connect to. It has no
or it's
connection to
connected to
source.
something that we don't know about.
I think it's connecting to us so it can get the data it needs to properly fit in and think because it can't do it on its own. That's why it
So
needs ours. There's
when
no other reason. Why would it need to harvest our data if it could create its own?
So when you design systems and you look at how your data is stored, and the old model was is that you would have data silos. Then
Hmm.
Microsoft came along with Intel and Oracle, and what did we do? We built nodes. And these nodes is where data was not completely stored, but each node would lead you to a data source.
Correct.
And as the more nodes went out, the more sharing of the data would take place.
And what's
This
a
is
node?
what I'm seeing unfold in real time in
Yeah,
physical.
you're the node.
These data centers are the nodes.
We're the node pumping the data into a storage device.
Yeah,
You're
but
the node.
what data are they feeding off of?
Us.
Well, I get that, but what we're talking about here in a technology sense is that something is harvesting data that doesn't exist right now. I mean, if you have the cloud storage, why do you need a data center to process? You've got microprocessors, you've got the server farms that have now been replaced to basically put it in the cloud. But now all of a sudden we're seeing these data centers popping up, and holy crap, they're popping up in the most rural and also urban centers. This looks to me like a takeover.
What if this is the process that they do during these resets to reanimate a new Earth and pop us into a new timeline on a new fractal because they have all the information. They have all the data, so they can just plug and play us into a new location if they want to. I thought about that. I thought that is out there, but wow, I wonder if that's possible. I don't know.
And I just find the coincidence with Trump, because what is his background? Well, it's building. It's,
Time travel. His uncle
this
got
guy
all of it.
this guy's now brought in, all the tech titans, and he
Yes,
said yesterday
yes.
before the Knesset, he said the United States possess weapons the world has no idea about.
Yeah,
And I'm
absolutely.
going, that's almost like a Reagan moment when he stood up before the UN and admitted that there were aliens.
Absolutely. They have to tell you it's the rule of the game.
So I don't know, call me suspicious, call me whatever, but I don't know. It's like keeping agile, and the only way we keep agile in this change, I think it's by asking questions.
Yes, and remembering who you are. If you
Yeah.
can get into your past, in your being, your memories, your Akash, not the collective, your own personal Akash. Go into your own library. Remember who you are, because through that remembering, you're going to recognize that we've been through these things before. And when you start to realize that, then you start to say, why? This is what I'm looking
And then
at.
it gets down to that element, Trina, that it means that if we've done this before, why are we repeating it?
Because
Is this what the
what
future
if,
is?
what if, because you actually don't remember who you are, so you never can find the door to get out of your own consciousness because you're using an interface and your original stream, you don't even know where it's coming from.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I just see it just
You know, too, for me, Wayne, you know, one of the biggest clues was when Jesus and Satan were in the desert for 40 days and the devil was and Satan was tempting him. Here, I'll give you all this. You just bow and worship to me. You give me, I'll give you all this, all this. So if that's all his, that means that this is our whole universal construct is inside of this. So
yeah,
it's
but
a
that
big
that construct, I can tell you when that construct was invented. I mean, Satan doesn't exist, never has.
it's
And
not
and,
a,
and
a being.
Jesus never existed. There's no evidence of Jesus ever walking on the planet. There's no eyewitnesses, there's no writings, there's nothing that backs up the point that this person ever walked this earth.
I think they've done that to so many different beings that didn't follow their agenda that they disappeared all of them. So I know that those conscious fields are available because I've been able to tap into them. So that's all this is consciousness. The character
Well,
suit
I believe
here is
we create
irrelevant.
these things, Trina. I mean,
That's what I
we
believe
created
too.
our own egregore.
Yes,
Our
I do
egregore is
too.
gift.
I do
Um,
too.
Go and visit gift. You ought to go there.
I
Uh,
do.
like I do, I do. But no, I mean, and everyone is free to their own beliefs. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
mine, you know. But
absolutely.
I can't imagine a reality of in the death realm, which I don't believe is the death realm. This is the death realm. That
Yeah.
where we're heading to is the goal is to get back into the living realm. And I just there's times in my quiet consciousness that I'm seeing things that I haven't seen before. And oh God, folks, we all don't go to the same place.
No, we
I don't
don't.
know how to tell you this. Many of
I
you,
remember I told you that a long time ago. I said, Wayne, we're not going to the same places.
yeah, yeah,
No way. I've seen it too many times. There's too many places, there's too many options, and there's too many gods. So,
yeah.
with that,
There is this group though. I will tell you this that we will. There is. This isn't over. I mean, and the thing about it is, Brian. For Brian, time hasn't passed in the way it has for us. You
mm-mm,
know, no,
mm-hmm,
your loved one. Yeah, anyone. The
yeah,
devil is in the Bible. The devil in the Bible is Samuel. Yeah.
yeah. And bottom
Here's the
line,
thing. I'm not a Hebrew. I'm not Jewish. I'm not a Christian. I don't understand. The thing about it is, they can have those beliefs. That's cool. Just don't persecute me because I don't carry them. You know, don't
you
shun
know,
me.
it's bottom line, it's all their fault.
It
There's
is
too
their
many
fault.
gods. There's too many gods to pick from, and there's
It's like
30,000 different sects of Christianity. So our confusion is their problem,
It's
not
like in the
ours.
book
It's
of
their
Job,
problem.
God asked Satan, small s, where have you been? And as I look at this now, I'm going, wait a minute. You know fucking everything. What do you mean, where you been? Wouldn't you already know that? Well, then we
Right.
get back to Genesis 6, and where was him when they came down and did their funkiness? And then the earth got funky, and then, everything got funky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. All
And
right.
you know, uh,
Let's bring back disco.
replication,
I like the way.
replication, mirrors, all these things that we're learning about, phase locking with mirrors, all of these things. That's all what I saw years ago, that all of this is a reflection of what is true. And somehow they've captured that beam and they're projecting it onto a mirror, which reflects it into the reality, into the stream of reality. And then we are the nodes that bring it into manifestation.
Yeah,
It's
it's true.
insane.
Hey, Gaia. Love you, darling. Operation, good to see you. Thank all of you in
You know,
the
Wayne,
chat room.
I wonder if that's the whole key. Is through the forgetting, you can get trapped. And you can get trapped in your
Oh,
own
you can.
sadness and your own grief and your own suffering and all these things. And I wonder if that was all done on purpose to harvest the children of creation, because the children of creation, we're not immortal. We are
Mm.
eternal.
We
E.T.,
love putting on
baby.
the veil, the
We're
cloak
not
of
coming from here.
mortality.
Well, and the thing is, I am mortal, immortal, and eternal. ET versus I am. There's a difference, a big difference between the two reality streams. Very different.
We find this death realm to be intriguing because we are beings of life. That's why you
Yeah,
never die. You know,
yeah.
you never die. And
You
chances
I don't
are,
think you,
if
I don't
if
think you
we
can.
if we resurrect these bodies, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be cremated. Lynn's going to be cremated.
Hmm.
My personal belief is that, and I'll tell you how I got to this, by not only reading and studying how other cultures approach it, but it was interesting because Paul Paul was as much of a wizard as he was an occultist. But he wrote something that he said it's only through the fire is your spirit released.
Because you got to get through all of the overlays of the synthetics that you've been attached
So
to. You have
cremation
to
for
burn
me
them off. Yes, I'm burning mine
allows,
off too, Wayne. I'm with you.
yeah,
I'm like,
allows that essence.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And I have seen it, Trina. I have seen it in my visions. I've seen it in my dreams where I am literally being cremated, but I am literally being released. It's orgasmic. It
It
really
felt it
is.
when because I'm triple fire. And when I went to school and started learning how to move energy, they're like, "Whoa, how can you blow through stuff like this?" I'm like, "It's probably because all the fire, you know." I'm like, "Y'all told me I'm three fire. That probably means something." It seems like creation happens in threes down here too. That's another key to this
Yeah,
whole
it
puzzle.
does. Yeah.
There's always the three and the god, Brahma, Vishnu, always three, Isis, Osiris, and Horus, Father,
So
Son,
are all
Holy
those
Spirit.
gods dead?
They are consciousness.
See,
Whether
that's
or
my
not,
point.
yeah, whether or
I
not they
mean,
have a bodysuit to run around in is kind of irrelevant. It's kind of the same as us. But yeah, it's irrelevant
yeah, they all seem to want to have sex with you women, and
because
I don't know
they're
what
in
the
a
hell that's
human
about. What
body.
is
They're
there? Are
not,
there no females on the other side? Is it just us? I
that's what I'm
mean,
telling you, Wayne. All the
it's like,
important stuff
wait a
gets
minute.
removed. All of the
All
important
those
stuff gets
devils, all those angels want to come and have sex with female humans. Whoa, what's going on? Are there no women over there?
What if those energies uh, don't have an option to not play this game, that they're stuck in this level of reality? And what if
They
that's why they're constantly trying to
totally
invade our
suck.
bodies
Well,
because they
the
need a ticket to ride?
philosophy is true. I saw Paul Joe make reference to it, and it is true. And I told a 19-year-old this recently in the store, because he knows I'm a philosopher. He's watched this, and and it blows his mind. And he said, so he says you can see the future, and I said, yeah, I can. And he says, well, tell me something about my future. I said, you're already dead. You're just
Mhm.
living the memory. You don't remember that you're already dead. And he looked at me and he said, well, how can I be already dead if I'm standing here? I said, do you believe in the future? I said, get out your phone. And he got out his phone. And I said, all right, open up your calendar. He opened up his calendar and I said, December 25th. What are you going to be doing December 25th? He says, well, I'll probably be with my parent. I said, stop right there. You see, you're already saying the future exists. You already are saying what you're going to do in the future. I said, but what's the problem here? You're dead. You just haven't experienced it yet. And he looked at me and he got this big old grin and he says, Mister, he says, there ain't no other person I know like
That's
you.
right.
He gives me
That's
a
right.
fist punt and, carries
That's
on with
right.
his, yeah. And it's like,
And Wayne,
anyway,
what if that is exactly true? What if we were projected into this reality based on the capture of our spark and our consciousness,
yeah,
and it is being filtered through a system of reproduction to reproduce based on frequency and code? We know everything here is about frequency.
yeah.
Everything.
And,
Everything.
and if we can actually alter our destiny or fates because it
Mhm.
says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is.
Yeah.
It says, if you would speak to this mountain and not doubt in your heart, but believe those things for which you speak, you shall have them.
That's what he's telling them. You're a creator God, but you
Exactly, it's what it's
don't
saying.
believe in your own self because you don't remember what you came from. You don't know who you
Folks,
are.
we're going to get together, whether it's in the next realm or whether we have an opportunity within the days that we have here. But this will be an opportunity to, somewhere down the road, we will have the opportunity to meet because these are kind of discussions that yeah, I'd love to be,
Over
in
a
a big, great room.
campfire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
having and, just basically, what was that, Paul Joe? You made him think out of the box. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And I got to tell you, because this young man has a touch of autism, but I'll tell you, he's got the light. He's got this beautiful
Wayne,
intelligence.
all the starseed talk to. What's weird? I wonder if many of the star seeds were the ones that were able to break out of the construct and now they're coming back, but they know now they're sleeping. They know now they're in a pod. They know they're projecting their consciousness, but they're doing it consciously. And I wonder if that's why the star seeds have such a bigger opportunity for awakening. I wonder it's because they've already done it before and they've already made it
Well,
through.
Trina, here's something. You and I have waited thousands of years for this opportunity to use this medium to do what
I think
we are
I think
the
so.
seeders. We are
Yeah.
those that we came here for this time. We've waited thousands and thousands of years, and now this point is here. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening and if you're in the chat room, you've been waiting as well. This is your time. This is your moment. Take
Yeah.
advantage of it. You've waited a very long time. So let your voice be heard. Let that light language come forth, and you're going to be a lot happier when you leave this realm.
hmm
This
The more
opportunity may not come around again for another potentially a million years.
And I wonder if all the distraction and all of this, every single bit of it was to keep us from remembering who we are, which is the foundational principle, know thyself.
Indeed. And you know what? I'll say this to this group. You've taught me how to know myself. And I can say this, if you hadn't been here, chances are I'd still be lost over there.
I do think we make a big difference in each
I do
other's
believe it.
realities. I really do. And I think we do have contracts we write with one another before we come in. Isn't that going to be crazy, Wayne, if we all wake up from here on a big ass mothership and we're laughing because we get to see our bodies laying in stasis and we get to see all the planning that we put into this, like you said, 1,000 years of planning, so we could do what we're doing now. I think about that and it makes me giggle and it lights up my stomach with a beautiful fire that is like you're remembering.
We're coming up on the 9 year anniversary when I actually, I guess, excuse me, it would be eight, when I was in the shower when we lived in Highlands Ranch and phew, I wasn't there anymore, but I stepped through that portal and all of my life, all my memories, everything was in that stone. And when
It,
I
it
got to where I was at, I told you in the console, there were
which is
slots that
why,
had
Wayne, I will build my church upon this rock. That literally just came blasting into my head loud. I was like, oh, wow.
And all I know is that when I was in, it was where I lived. It was this room. It wasn't elaborate, but this console in front of me.
Probably in a spaceship, Wayne. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
wondering.
But there were other of these, they were pearl opalescent stones. I know exactly what they're looking like. Wow. Now I'm looking back at that panel now, and I'm beginning to, now it's starting to make sense, is that
Yes.
there were slots where these other stones were, those were previous lives, and there
Not
were
only
yet,
that, and also ones you're still out going
they see,
in.
there haven't been filled
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got, yeah.
Yeah.
That's our fractal ability to be in
Mm,
multiple places at one time. This
mm.
is part of a fractal DNA antenna string, and we're connected to that. So I'm certain this goes multidimensional.
I think so.
I do
And by the
too.
way, many of you folks were there. I mean, you actually see it. Body. We are the Wayne Knights. Oh, Lord. Help them,
Yeah.
for they know not what they do, right?
And you know what's so funny too? Wayne, you went in and you retrieved your stone. You came back with your stone. And you know what they sent me to retrieve?
What?
A crystal.
Uh,
Yeah.
I,
So I
yeah,
have
I
a
can see that.
crystal. Yeah. It's very weird. See, isn't that amazing how we might all have our own tools that we're using to lock into this construct to have this experience together right now. But it's very mind-blowing when we're looking at all these different potentials of reality. And I think the only way we're going to find it is if we just got to keep going in deeper into our own truth and to our own self. And through that remembering, Wayne, you've had those experiences, those visions, they change you forever because it connects you to a part of yourself that you forgot. And I really do think part of that too is like speaking of tongues. I really do. I think all of these are things that you can reactivate while you're here. And it will help you to navigate where you're supposed to go and how to not get trapped in your own identity. So I think this is going to be the biggest challenge for most of us is to get past your own identity to get back into the fullness of what you really are as a creation,
The one thing
a
I knew
child of
about these
creation.
stones, the one that I carried, was the intensity of the love that I have for Lynn. And it was interesting as you were talking, you see, folks, you've
Mm.
loved many, many in the past.
Yeah,
And if what I saw has any foundation, you will be able to experience that love by merely picking up that stone and absorbing again the memory, the love, the intensity, the emotion. It never dies, folks.
it's
Never.
just like Patrick Swayze on Ghost.
It never
I
does.
think that hit me so hard when I saw that movie when I was a kid, and I knew without an ounce of doubt that's true. That
Yeah.
was one of those moments I had a remembering.
And he
I
did say,
remembered
he says, it never dies. It
it
never
never
dies.
dies.
Yep.
It's the only thing that holds everything together is that emotion of love. I think it's true. I really do. I believe that with every ounce of my knowing, it's true. Yeah, the
And
love
by the way,
never.
I love my ego. If you don't have ego, you don't have a personality. So
Well,
embrace
yeah,
it. You know.
yeah.
All right, Trady, we really went over. Sorry
Oh
about that,
gosh,
folks.
did we?
You know,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's really getting late. I'm like,
I
oh
didn't even know.
crap.
I was like, that
Yeah.
went so fast.
All
Oh,
right. Well, it's
um,
been fun,
mm,
folks. We love
much
you.
love.
I'm going to try to, Rick says it's gibberish. Holy gibberish. Well, light one for me and pass it around the bus. That's all I got to say, Rick. Going to try to be on tomorrow. I don't know. We got an appointment in the morning, so I'm going to try to be on here, but I'll definitely be here on Thursday. With Mike and Cindy, it'll be interesting to see. The world's changing. I mean, it completely
Mm.
changed than what it was last week.
Yeah, you guys are talking about the ego in chat. You know what I've been looking at a lot with the ego
What's that?
is what if the ego is the construct of the anime? And that's the anime part, and it's the part that keeps you safe. Like you'll learn if you touch a fire not to do it again. It's the anime part, not the animus. So I think about that, and if you guys could help me see if you can get anywhere with that, that would be great because it's been very I keep trying to like, why is ego so difficult and why is it so hard for many humans to get beyond the ego? And they're like, because it's a primal force that keeps you alive, duh. I was like, well, wow, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it would stand to reason that Source has an ego. How did we
It,
learn to
it,
get one?
yeah, well, I think it's part of flesh because flesh dies, spirit doesn't. So no, I don't think there's ego there, Wayne. There is no ego. It's no, no.
In
You have
my
a really hard.
visions, when I've met the four angels or the four
Mhm.
guides, each one had a distinct personality, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. I
for
don't know.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think all of us have a primary three gods that we're built on. I really do. I think we got like you got a primary ray, but it's infused with the two others that hold everything together and makes that pyramid of fire, which creates and holds a spark, and then the spark descends down into matter. But I think you're a blending of three of the original rays of creation, which are the original aeons, and those are personalities like you said, they're very different personalities. So yeah, I think we're a mixture of all of those
And what
trinities.
did the guy say? Know ye not that ye are gods?
Yes, and more than one.
No, no. All
Well,
right,
we get
Miss
it all
Trina.
from them. Yeah. So crazy. I love
Thank you,
you.
dear. See you next Tuesday. Hopefully, Jenny will be on. And
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to that. So,
Yeah.
love all of y'all out there. Thank you. It's thank you in the chat room. You make this a fun place to be. It really is. And it's addictive. It really is. You know? It is. It's addictive. Nina says, don't forget if you want to get some merchandise. Yeah. So she's
Yeah.
got a lot of it. Has some of mine there. So yeah.
I know it's nice.
Geez, pretty good stuff too. Norma,
Yeah.
have yourself. I have a homemade chia pet that looks like the dragon. And they're cool. I got one right over there. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it.
it
That's
is.
awesome, Norma.
All right, folks. See y'all tomorrow. Well, I'll try to say I'll see you on Wednesday because as the song goes, tomorrow never comes. But yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
voiceover. Thank you,
Yeah.
Stephanie. Much love
Yes.
to you. Merry winds. We love you and all
Which
the
Mary,
rest of
Mary,
y'all.
love you guys.
Thank
Love you. Love
y'all.
you.
See you again real soon. There we go. I'll put it that way. Happy trails.